I don't have a worry in the world. Do you see that cloud up there with a number 9? It's mine, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Love was hiding around the corner. This lonely mourner heard the call. Then love found me and put his arms around me. Beat the drum, sound the brass. What a groove, what a gas. Here I come, let me pass. Cottage small, wall to wall, enchanted Blissville. In old New Kissville, the greenest, grandest, greatest state of them all. If it lasts forever, I'll love it. If it's one short lifetime, what of it? One short lifetime is long enough for singing. Listen, love, I had a ball.
It's time to have a ball. I have to tell you.
Oh, how clever you are.
Thank you, thank you. You know, the first things that I did when I got to LA, besides get a job and a place to live, was go to an open mic night at this place called the Cinegrill at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel.
Did they have open mic night?
Yes.
I don't remember that. Okay. I guess I do. Okay. I mean, I knew we worked there, but I didn't know. Okay. I didn't know, but there was an open mic. Okay.
No, they did. I think it was like a Tuesday night thing, Wednesday night, I don't know. And I met like 3 singers that night. Oh, I probably met more, but 3 singers. They said, you got to come to this class. You got to come to this Karen Morrow's class. And I showed up, and here was this woman with this smile, with the laugh, this humor. She touches your heart. She has a voice that is only hers. And what a heart. The one, the only, Karen Morrow.
Oh, just a minute. I want to see if my heart is there. It's there. It's there for you, honey. My heart is always there for you. What can I tell you? Yes, I remember. That was a banner year. I mean, we really had some swell people in that class. You being one of them, and Michael VACCARO and John Russell and MARYJO Mundy.
Right.
And I'm sure there are many more, and I should try to remember, but that was about 20 years ago. Because I know, because I had taught at other places before that. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I remember that we were told to get out of one studio. So then we moved to a studio near NBC, and the land was owned by Bob Hope. And then Bob Hope wanted to build something else there, so they got rid of us. So then we ended up at the Cinegrill.
The Cinegrill.
And that's where we had class for so long. There, and at the Hollywood Bowl.
I remember the Hollywood Bowl.
Up there, not outside, everybody. No, would that we could have sung outside. There was a big, huge, not the library, what do they call it, the library? The museum. The museum. The Hollywood Bowl Museum, which was huge and wonderful with a great big 9-foot Steinway piano. Oh my God. Oh my God, okay. Don't get me started on, I never love that.
Well, since we're talking about that, why do you enjoy teaching so much?
You know, I don't know, because I never liked any of my teachers. This is a terrible thing to say, but I went to Catholic schools. I went to Catholic schools from kindergarten on up through college. Right. So that's 12, 13 years of nuns. Now, there were lovely women, but I don't know. And I suppose there were some good teachers, but I didn't really pay any attention, you know. It gives me something, David. when I mean, because you know I perform, I still back and forth to Broadway and all that stuff. And there's something about since I have no children,
Right.
there's something about sharing what I know and telling people what to do.
Ah, do
I
it.
like telling people what to do. Yes, yes. Stop that. So
Yeah,
it,
but
it
let me
worked.
tell
It
you,
worked.
it
That's
worked.
the thing.
Well, the thing about you telling people what to do, it's so amazing. I mean, it's like you're so motherly in that way.
Good, good.
And
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, yeah. I don't feel like a teacher so much. Well, you know, I understand because I certainly was much less than perfect or anything in school. I just happened to be able to sing. And so I was asked to sing all the time for things. So that was my thing. And when I got out of college, I didn't have anything to do, but because I could sing, I was heard and therefore I was hired. But at
Right.
some point, I know what everybody's going through. I know the girls who feel that they're too fat. I know the guys who think that they're not handsome enough. And it shows in their performance. And so I can tell why they are behaving that way when they sing, because I felt all those things when I was singing. I felt all of them. So I really understand. Then of course I've been in therapy myself,
Well,
you know, so when we talk about motivation, hello, is anybody in our business not in therapy?
well, if they aren't, they should be.
I know it. They're probably not very good, is what
Oh.
but no, that's a terrible thing to say.
No.
But I could see where people were holding themselves back.
Yeah.
And it was easier for me to say, think about this, or what are you thinking about? What's going on? You know, it's easier for me to kind of probe inside with them than sometimes it is with me. Also, I'm a wonderful audience. I love an audience. I love being an audience. So I can look at a song or look at a performance and know what technically needs to be done.
Mm.
You know, if it's not landing, there might be a reason, not just the voice or what the intent is, but they might be phrasing something so that we don't hear it correctly. So I found this a wonderful exercise. And certainly after I started teaching and kept on doing my own performing, especially cabarets, whenever I did cabaret, my act,
Right.
I got freer and freer, and I started having much more fun because I realized I didn't have to be perfect. I just had to do what I do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so easy. People say that all the time, you don't have to be perfect. Well,
Yeah. What is perfect?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing.
And everybody can say the same thing. But the point is, I felt free then because I had already expressed all these thoughts to a whole bunch of people, and they didn't throw tomatoes at me in class or anything like that. So I figured that they wanted to listen to me. So I figured that audiences would want to listen to me too. And it made me work harder.
Now, what was the seed all those years back when you popped your head out of the womb? Well, what was the seed that made you want to go into this profession?
Pardon me, I should have warmed up. My parents were both singers. In Chicago, although they aspired to opera, although I found out many years after, my mother was about 60 years old, she says, you know, Karen, I really liked light opera. I really liked musical comedy. Of course, in her era, musical comedy was the Merry Widow and stuff like that, and New Moon. And my dad was singing on radio in Chicago, and they used to tell stories, incredible stories about when they met. They both had the same voice teacher in Chicago, and they met through him. And then they both went out on the road, which we would call summer stock now, but they called it on the Chautauqua circuit. And that was a circuit where a violinist maybe would appear in the tent. They would travel around the country, and the act would go from tent to tent to tent. And while the violinist was playing like that, and then he would move out, and he would go to the next town where the guys had been setting up his show. And then my parents would move in because the guys had been setting up this show. So they were always a jump ahead. But they had pictures, and they used to laugh so hard about all the fun that they had. And I thought, oh man, wouldn't that be
where
great?
they met?
Yes. Well, they met in their voice teacher's office, and then they both happened to got this show, and then that's when they decided to get married.
Oh.
And it was, it just sounded so not glamorous. It just sounded like fun because they laughed so, and they had pictures of all these characters that were in the shows, and they used to tell stories about this one guy who would sneak out of a hotel every night so he wouldn't have to pay. You know, I mean, just wonderful characters, and how he would wear silly things, and then they would sit there and they would laugh so hard. I still have those pictures and that inspired me. And because I could sing, I thought everybody could sing because my uncles sang, my aunts sang, everybody.
I can imagine your voice when you were like 2. Oh! You know?
The first time the first time I sang, I was 3 years old. I went, God bless America. It was that loud, standing on a piano bench. And I remember my parents just going, okay. So they picked me up off the bench and sent me to my room with a cookie. Oh. So, but that was it. I sang God Bless America for the first time.
And you got paid. You got paid for your first singing job by a cookie.
And I got applause. Oh, David. Well, now, when did you first decide that you were going to be in the show business? In the show business.
You know, I recognized this the other day. I've been going through all my crap while we've been in quarantine, and I found some old cassette tapes. Now, I knew from the beginning when I popped my head out of the womb, I felt, I gotta do something. Gotta dance or something.
Really? Early on? Was there any influence in your life?
Well, no, because my mom was a secretary. My dad did have a good voice, and we used to sing together. At Camp Arazim, I used to be the Big Z when I was a teenager, and I would sing In Kelohenu every day after lunch. But I remember in high school, and I was coming across these tapes, and I was listening to it. It was Bells Are Ringing.
Oh, I love that show. Yeah.
And I played Dr. Kitchell, the dentist. And I was the nerdy teenager at school. I didn't feel like I had a lot of friends. I was in the drama department, blah, blah, blah. No, I didn't have any dates and that I knew about. And so I did this role. I got up on stage. I was singing, I love your sunny teeth, and at the end, they were laughing. The audience was laughing. And I'm like, I'm loving this. And it's just giving me energy. And then at the end of this one scene that I had, I think I had 2 scenes, but that scene, I got this applause and everybody stood up and I was like, oh. So that's when it really hit me, sophomore in high school.
Oh yeah, no, there's nothing like that. The giving of yourself. Now there are people who sing and they don't give of themselves. They just stand there and sing and look prettier and look handsomer and stuff like that. But when you give it all and the audience responds, that's the link. That's the thing that connects and you go, I want to do that all the time. It's about connecting, I think. That's wonderful, David. Oh, that's wonderful. That's a funny part. Well, I love that show. I mean, my audition songs, when I went to New York, my audition songs were from Bells Are Ringing. I mean,
really?
Oh, it was Judy Holliday. I sang,
yeah.
I'm in love with a man, Plaza, 443, what about me? Well, you've heard me do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's silly, but
yeah.
Oh
my God. No, but your big break on Broadway was I Had a Ball. Correct?
Yeah, my big break was before that. There was a revival, the first revival after 25 years of the original of Boys from Syracuse. Now that had been done in the 40s or whatever. So this is 60. Yeah. So this was 1960. Well, actually, no one. The minute I got to New York, I got in a show down in the Village called Sing Muse. And it was written by Eric Siegel, the one who wrote Never to Say or Sorry, who wrote Love Story, and Joe Raposo, who eventually wrote all the music and the songs for Sesame Street. Uh-huh. But at that time, they were guys right out of college.
Yeah.
And they wrote this show about Helen of Troy and that whole thing. But they called it Sing Muse. And so, of course, my first song was Why Did You Marry Me, Menelaus? And that was it. And they went, oh, okay.
I love it.
Okay, this new girl has hit town. So that's what really put my name there. And that's when I got a Theater World Award. And me and Robert Redford and wait a minute. Oh, Jones. He's the African American who does Darth Vader, the voice of Darth Vader.
Oh, yeah, James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
We all got the award at the same time. And I said, I wonder whatever happened to those guys. When I look at the book that has our pictures in it, I said to James Earl Jones years later, I said, did you ever look at the book and think of me? He went, oh yes, all the time.
3 grades.
But that's what people started taking notice. Then I started doing television.
Oh, you did television before?
Yeah, I did television first.
Well, I know that you were on, my God, Mike Douglas, Johnny Carson. I mean,
I did that a lot. But before that, my first show on television nationwide was on the Red Skelton show.
whoa.
I know, and it was to be my debut, and that was. And they did them live then, and they weren't pre-taped. And that was the night that either the Bay of Pigs invasion or the United States invaded something else. So of course, all those shows were blocked out because of the news. The news had to take over. Yeah. So eventually, I guess we did go on sometime, some down in the future and stuff like that. Right. But then I did Gary Moore. See, all your people probably don't know who these people are.
Well, they're going to look them up tonight.
Okay, but Gary Moore.
Yeah.
And I remember doing that. My favorite was when I did that with Nat King Cole. Now, maybe some of your fans know who Nat King Cole is.
Yeah.
But to tie in with, I don't want to upset anybody, but this was way back in the 60s, Yeah. And at the end of Gary Moore's show, all the guests would come down and we would hold hands and we go, thanks for dropping by, hope to see you soon, good night. I mean, everybody would sing that, all the guests and Gary in the middle. And then, so I of course I couldn't even speak because Nat Cole was on the show and he was absolutely my favorite. Oh, I could listen to him forever. He was so smooth. And he was standing next to me holding my hand and I said, oh, I'm so honored. Oh my God, I'm so honored. He was sweet and lovely. And we said, thanks for stopping by. Hope to see you soon. Good night. Then we took a bow. And that was it. They got hate mail. So much hate mail because this lovely blonde was holding hands with it. They didn't call him African American then. But it didn't occur to me that was not something to do. I mean, he was Nat King Cole, for Christ's sake, and I was only Karen Morrow from Iowa. So I really learned. I really had a big lesson that day. So when I see what's going on now, I go, oh my God, if only you had worked with Nat Cole.
Oh my God.
Well, it just all depends. Yeah. But from there, from those things, I went on to, I did the national company of the Unsinkable Molly Brown. I took over for Tammy. I did that. And then it was after that I auditioned for I Had a Ball, Broadway show, and got that.
Right, with Buddy Hackett.
Buddy Hackett and Richard Kiley. I had my choice between that show. There was another show called Kelly that was going to open at the same time. And it was so much more refined. I mean, I Had a Ball was all about Coney Island and Buddy Hackett. He was funny, yes, but he was going to star in a show, Buddy Hackett talking. I thought, what is that? So I thought, listen, I'm gonna take the Buddy Hackett thing because it'll be over and it'll be fine and everything. And so Kelly opened without me and closed either in one night or in 4 days, something like that. It has a colossal reputation for being. I mean, they just sold it. It was going to be the greatest thing. And we ran for 6 months, and we could have gone longer.
Yeah.
We could have gone longer because Buddy would do his act at the end of each show because he knew we had a clunker of the show.
Oh.
But he would do his act afterwards, and the audience would stay, and the orchestra would stay. And we had packed house every night.
And you had the main song.
The back, yep. They had the song, the title song with the whole company. Thank God for that. But yeah, they did that on the Ed Sullivan Show, and I've been hearing from people ever since. I mean, they see it. They go on YouTube and see it. It's
Right.
It's wonderful. But I look at myself and I go, oh, gee, who was I then? I mean, I didn't know anything. I knew nothing. I was in my early 20s. You know,
Right.
I knew nothing how to perform. I just opened my mouth. I have. So now I know so much more. But that was it. And then that kind of started the ball rolling for the rest of the flops that I did.
Oh, no.
And other things. No, I did a lot of television. Yeah, the talk shows, I really did a lot of talk shows.
Well, you did over 36 Merv Griffin shows.
Oh, yeah. I was a guest pretty regularly on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he liked to play the piano for me. He loved to play the piano, and my favorite song was one of his favorite songs. It was Time After Time, and he loved playing that song. He was very good, you know. He could play in any key.
Yeah.
And so he would play that. In fact, the one thing that I remember, and I can't get a clip of this, and I don't know how, I can't get a clip of it. One night he booked me and James Brown. You know, James, I'm all right. I mean, you know, total crazy, wonderful rock country. I don't know what style would you call
Oh, yeah. I mean, deep soul. I don't know.
Very deep soul, and he was a little wiry guy, so he booked us together. I mean,
You do a duet?
So popped it on the two of us, sprung it on us, and and he looked at me. James looked at me, and I looked at him, and we said, okay. And he said, I want you both to sing Time After Time. He said, James, do you know that? And he went, oh yeah. And I went, oh God, this is going to be awful because he's going to go all over the place and do his pop sound. Yeah. And there I am, stupid little Karen from Des Moines, going to go Time After Time. Well, Merv started to play, and James sat next to me, and we looked at each other, and he started singing in perfect harmony, never goofed from the melody, never did any licks, never did anything to destroy that perfect melody and me. And we looked at each other so soulfully. I was so shocked and so by the fact that he totally put what he does away, put it away in a drawer someplace, and decided he was going to do this for me. And I can't get a clip from any.
We're gonna have to research that.
I have put people onto it. I'm sure that unless they erased everything from that show.
Some shows, of course, they erased.
Yeah.
But others, they're in the vault somewhere.
Well, they show the Merv Griffin show on WeTV and places like that all the time, but they don't show the music because they would have to pay royalties for it. So you'll see me sitting on the couch at the end of the show, right, but you won't hear what I've been singing. So I even went online and said Merv Griffin show James Brown, typed that in, and then nothing came up.
God, I'm going to throw out a name and see what comes. Jerry Herman.
Oh, well, Jerry Herman. I don't know if your audience knows, but he's the man that wrote Hello, Dolly. Thank you very much. And Mame. I mean, those shows. Somewhere right now, as we're speaking, somebody is doing Mame and somebody is doing Hello, Dolly, even if it's in grade school.
Right.
Every school, because they're safe to do. They're wonderful shows. Jerry wrote those, and he wrote some other wonderful ones, La Cage aux Folles.
Oh.
I mean, based on the movie, you know how wonderful that is. And he wrote Milk and Honey, which was about Israel when it was wanting to become independent. Beautiful music, beautiful, beautiful music. Plus, he wrote some reviews and stuff before. But he always liked my talent. He always liked to audition me for stuff. And he liked my audition song. He left. He just said he still remembered the audition song. But anyway, he then asked me to do concerts with him, with the orchestras and stuff like that. And then eventually I traveled with him.
Yeah.
We played all over the country. We did colleges and high schools, and then he gave scholarships.
Yeah, I remember, and thank you very much. I received one of those one of the years.
Yes, that's right. Oh, that's right. Those were the Jerrys, the lucky Jerrys.
That was just a highlight of.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got $100.
I see. I don't even remember the money. I remember the honor.
Yes, but finally I dwindled down because I was running out of cash. Jerry gave me a big hunk of cash, and then I was kind of doling it out over the years. And then finally I got down to $50. And then finally I said to the class, I said, I can't give out any more Jerry's because I don't have any more money. They said,
Wow.
no, that's fine.
No,
So,
it's not about the money to get the,
no, I know.
from Jerry,
Yeah. No, he was extraordinary. He was very important in my life, and he was very important in a lot of people's lives. In fact, kids now that got his scholarship from the high schools that we played and stuff like that, they are now grown up, and they write him letters. Of course, Jerry just died not too long ago, about 3 or 4 months ago, which was, well, he was really he was kind of frail. But we did the great big show at the Hollywood Bowl. That was a salute to Jerry. And that was one of the most exciting things that I've ever done, because it seats 18,000 people and every seat was full. And it was the Los Angeles Philharmonic. And to walk out in front of that orchestra and look at the audience and sing,
yeah.
Talk about needing an audience, talk about liking an audience. You better like an audience if you're going to be put in front of 18,000 of them. Wow. And it was extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary. So I know.
I'm like sitting with you, and I could talk to you for hours. I mean,
well, I told you I was a self-starter. I mean, that's why I did so many talk shows, is because they say, book Karen, she'll just ask her one question and she'll talk forever.
But no, it's so rich and full. I mean, and what you've done, Broadway, and you teach, and we could go back to the
commercials. I've done commercials.
Commercials?
I've done everything except a major motion picture. And that's too bad, except I don't think I would like to look at myself in 70 millimeter.
But one of my favorite movies that was a TV movie was Boy in the
Plastic Bubble.
Love that one. And now we're all living that, aren't we?
I know. We thought that was so odd. For those of you, it was from John Travolta was a star because he was a brand new star in sitcoms. And so they wanted to give him something else to do. And so he did that about the Boy in the Plastic Bubble, which was a true story. I played his girlfriend's mother. So I didn't have to do anything except just kind of be there and say, hello, and reprimand my daughter and talk to her a little bit. That's all I had to do. But it was, we would go on location. We'd go to a lake. We'd go to a forest. We'd go to a high school and photograph the graduation. And it was, he was darling. And I would run into him later on before he became really famous. So after that movie, he was taking dance classes at the same place I was. And so we would talk and stuff.
Wow. Well, that must have been a fun movie.
It was, because we laughed a lot. Although he had to work really hard because he was the star of it. But he had this long hair. And I remember the wind would blow his hair and we'd see his ears and I'd go, oh, he's got ears. Oh. Because in it wasn't Welcome Back, Kotter. What was the show that he did? Welcome Back, Kotter. He always had long hair.
Yeah.
But this one, the wind would blow and I go, oh my God, he's got ears. They're kind of big, but who cares? So Charles.
I just, I was looking through all your stuff, and it's Love American Style, which I grew up with. And you played Aunt Minerva in Tabitha, Falcon Crest, The Love Boat, Ladies Man. And then what was your favorite television show that you were on?
Probably Tabitha. I did guest shots on other things.
Yeah.
But as far as series were concerned, because my series didn't last very long, Tabitha kind of did. But because I had such fun with the magic, the popping in and out. Yeah. In and out of the story, because we'd do something and they'd go, okay, freeze.
Yeah.
And we'd freeze, and then they'd take a picture of where I was, and then I'd have to go over and change costume. Or I remember when I had to get really fat, so they had to pad me up, and then I would go back in the same position, and then they'd say, okay, action. But when you watched it was like I went from that to that. It was so much fun, and we laughed. And I remember the director giving the wrong directions one day when I was supposed to be soaked. Because I was the weather. Anyway, I did a weather thing, and I was supposed to be soaked, but we waited. Don't soak me during the run through.
Yeah.
Of that scene. And of course, I was on a roof and the director was down below and he shouted at me, go to the left. I went, no, go to the left. And I went, okay. I went to the left. And of course, all the rain came down at the wrong time. So we had to stop and go and get all dried up and do the hair again and do the makeup.
Oh.
I remember though, they were fun. They were
Yeah.
such fun. Oh my God.
My God, to be in,
Outfits. And then of course, I got to work with some of the people who had been on Bewitched.
right.
So, you know, they kind of brought them back for this. I'm sorry that didn't continue because it was fun. I wasn't particularly good. I wasn't.
Oh, please.
Well, no. I'm saying this because even though I could be silly and stuff like that, but I realized that I'm really good with an audience. I can be funnier when I'm with an audience. And that was one camera. There was no studio audience.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, that's too bad because that could have been, there are those people who don't need an audience. They know how to be instinctually funny, you know? And I mean, all the people who were on Friends, all those people, there was no audience, studio audience. They were just all behaving the way they behave. I have such admiration for those people who don't need the audience. I always needed the audience.
Well,
so.
you feed off of it. You feed off.
Totally.
And I'm picturing you in front of that 18,000 people, and I'm like, oh my God.
You know what?
Yeah.
You know what? The bowl is built. Because you know what a raked audience is. It isn't that everybody's sitting flat out.
Yeah.
If they all sat flat out there, 18,000 people, I would have to shoot myself.
Oh.
But as it is, they're all stacked going up the hill. Yeah. And that's all very close. So it looks like this when you're on stage. It looks like they're right in front of you, even though the 18,000th one is way up here.
Wow.
So they look, whereas if they were way back there, it would be vast. But it's like they were all right in front of me and the orchestra was all behind me under that shell. So it was very cozy. It was very cozy. It wasn't as frightening as I thought it was going to be because I prayed before I went out. I prayed before I stepped out onto that stage. I just said to my higher power, I said, Grace. I gave her a name, Grace. I said, get me through this. Just be there with me. Please be there with me. And that was it.
They keep telling me the world is mass confusion, that now the creed is lust and greed and lies. But I simply must retain my grand illusion. So when I look at life, I close my eyes. If music is no longer lovely, if laughter is no longer lilting, if lovers are no longer loving, then I don't want to know if summer is no longer carefree, if children are no longer singing, if people are no longer happy, then I don't want to know. Let me hide every truth from my eyes with the back of my hand. Let me live in a world full of lies with my head in the sand, for my memories all are exciting, my memories all are enchanted, my memories burn in my head with a steady glow. So if my friends, if love is dead, I don't want to know. If music is no longer lovely, if laughter is no longer lilting, if lovers are no longer loving, then I don't want to know if summer is